This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. Our goal this week was to progress on fairing and sanding the Salon area in preparation for our 200th episode party that's coming up next month on July 25th, that's a Saturday, at 4 p.m.
200 episodes! That just makes me tired thinking about it. But we are on the countdown list now to finish, so we're getting there. But let's show you all the work we accomplished this week right now. Monday morning, and we're starting out by cutting up a piece of fiberglass here, because what we're making is a series of short fiberglass tubes. And these tubes are going to be used in the various stays, forestays, and where the shrouds come down. We have chain plates at each on the sides. That there's actually 2 chain plates on each side of the boat, so that's 2 pins on each side, and so that's 5 pins altogether with the forestay and the 4 for the stays. And each of those pins has a short fiberglass tube on each side of it that the carbon fiber wraps over. And we need the fiberglass tube to separate the carbon fiber from the stainless steel pin so that we don't have galvanic corrosion going on between those 2 materials. So we're just going to make one big piece here on this PVC. That'll give us the right inside diameter so that our pin fits through. And then we'll just, once this is made, we'll just cut it into the 40 millimeter sections, and then we'll have to extract the PVC out. And if the PVC is stubborn, we'll just heat it up and get it out that way. But we're going to grease this so that hopefully that we can get them out without having to use heat, but we'll see. So that's up next. Previously, when we tried to extract some PVC from fiberglass, and we used an actual release agent, official, it wouldn't release the tube out. I'm sure if it was peeling off of a form, it would have been fine, but we couldn't get it out of the tube. So we're going back to white grease, which we have used before, and had pretty good results. So the downside of using white grease is that if you're trying to fiberglass, it's really hard to get it clean after that. But we're only fiberglassing the outside. The inside, where we'll have the grease, not getting fiberglass to anything. So it's perfectly fine if a little bit of grease gets left inside of that. It's just fine. All that's happening is there's a stainless steel 3/16 stainless pin going through the center of this. So the grease will help it slide in. Okay, now we just need somewhere to put this. Okay, so we've cut our little notches into these pyramids, and we've shaved down one side of them so that the top is about 45 and the bottom's about 55. And that's what we're going to go with on these. Now the slope is on this side only. It's in the center. It's straight up and down because it needs to be for the Seagull striker center post. Has to be straight up and down. So just about ready to glue these. All right, so we've mixed up some honey consistency for gluing these together. That means we only used a little bit of flock. Next up on the hit parade, since we're working on the Forebeam and trying to get the Pyramids and Seagull Striker going, this is the Seagull Striker post. And I just sanded these up. This is G10, and we're got to glue these into one big block. So we're going to do that right now. And we already went up onto the Forebeam earlier and put some layers of biaxial glass up there, right under where the pyramid and this Seagull Striker post sit. Those were required in the plans to have that reinforced, so we did that. And what we're trying to do is get everything prepped for the next 2 days, because it's having a little bit of a heat wave hitting us. We're going to have a lot of these because in about 2 weeks, summer officially starts here in Southern California, and so we're in for 3 months of hot weather. That's normal. We'll work through it. It just means that we have to do epoxy in the mornings before it gets too hot, and that's fine. We just prep in the afternoons, and so that's what we're doing today as well. We did epoxy earlier, and we've got a little bit left here, but it's, what temperature is it right now? It's 82. Is it? Or you just make that up?
I just said. That was my guess.
Brian's guessing that's 82. All right, let's see what it really is. Let's see if he's right. No, you're wrong. It is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and that in Celsius is plenty nice enough for epoxy. So no problem doing these this little post right now. And then that's probably as far as we'll get on this. So we'll go upstairs and get back to work on the Cockpit and Salon. All right. Well, there you go. We're just using a little thin here because these are ultimately flat. So we don't really need to use any thickened to fill in any kind of hole or anything. In fact, we had to sand them up to give this something to bond to, because these were perfectly slick before that. So. Now, one of the interesting things about this Seagull Striker is that when we build the strap out of carbon fiber that goes on the top of the Forebeam and over the top of this post, we have to make it with a bit of a gap between this and the strap, because once the strap is made, they want us to put shims in underneath of it between this post and the thing to give it some tension up. And so we purposely make this thing a tiny bit short and use shims to give that Seagull Striker tension. At least according to the plans, and we're following the plans. All right. Well, I'll let that one set up, and tomorrow we'll be able to put it in place. Time to get back to sanding up here. I still got this section to go. We've sanded most of that already. So I'll sand up this last bit and then see if we can't get some fairing compound going on here.
While I was up sanding the cabin top, Brian was downstairs working on the cupboards for the heads. We had to clean up the edges where we'd already filled in with some thickened epoxy. So he's going to use a belt sander and clean that all up. Our next order of business was to get out a roll of our carbon fiber unidirectional, and we have to cut 40 thin strips about 50 millimeters wide to, this is 20 per side. This is for wrapping around the forestay and those pyramids to create a very, very strong position for our pin that holds our forestay up, and that holds the mast up. So we need a lot of carbon fiber. So again, 20 layers per side, which is a little more than the plans call for, but we like to overbuild when we can.
This morning we're working on our pyramids. These go here, and then there's a post. I got these, put the post in. It goes right there, and we need to round the bottom of that post to match the forebeam. So first thing we have to do is figure out its position here. So we're going to measure that right now.
Now that we've got the measurements correct up on the forebeam, we took the Seagull striker post, and we're going to cut off a bit and then grind it so that it fits the curvature of that forebeam. So Brian's going to chop it off first, and then I'll grind off a little bit to get it rounded. I ground down the bottom of this G10 to fit the curvature of the forebeam, and then we cut another piece of G10 that will go on top and we can shim. So after we make the carbon fiber strap, when we slide this in and we need to put it under tension, we can slip in another thinner piece of G10, and that will cause it to put the carbon fiber under tension here.
This rod sits in here, and this thing should end up slightly higher than the rod. So that's looking pretty good. And again, if we have to shim it a little higher, that's still fine. Okay, that looks great. And now for the fun part. Getting that PVC out of the fiberglass. We'll try heating on the first one. We've got a few extras, so we can experiment with the first one, and whatever technique we figure out works best, we'll use it on this one. All right, so heating it works. Unfortunately, we've messed this one up so much trying different things that this one's trash, but at least we can get it out by heating it up and shoving it out with our screwdriver. So we'll try another for real this time. And this will sit in here like so that we can wrap carbon fiber over the top of this. This has nothing to do with strength, because the carbon fiber is the strength, and then there's a stainless steel pin that goes through. This is just to separate the carbon fiber from the stainless steel pin. So it doesn't have to have anything other than not be compressible, and also has to be able to fit a 3/4 inch stainless steel rod through there, which it does. Time to put on the pyramids. All right, well, we've got our pyramids glued on here, and then tomorrow we will start putting carbon fiber around that whole monstrosity. It's Wednesday, and Brian and I are out at the bow, and these are the post and the pyramids here are all set up onto the forebeam. So now it's time to wrap these with carbon fiber. Now, the plans call for 16 layers, 250 gram T700 carbon fiber unidirectional, because you want the strength going around like this. Remember that the mast is going to be pulling with the stay this direction, pulling up. So we want to wrap our carbon fiber here so that it's pulling up on this whole carbon fiber coated Western red cedar beam that we have here. And so we're ready to go, and we're making up a little thickened because I've got a couple little low spots I want to fill. And then we're going to start putting on the glass. I'm going to do one side at a time. We're going to wet out all 20 layers of carbon fiber in one big huge piece over there, and then we're going to drape that over the top here, let it hang down, separate each piece out from beyond this point, and spread them just slightly along the bottom here, so we get a little bit more adhesion down here. But here it has to stay to the 50 mil shape that this is, which is like 2 inches on these. So we'll do one side at a time, get that one done. We'll mix up and assemble all wet it out the other 20 layers, and then drape it and do the same thing over on this side. I'm back. We're here later in the afternoon with my buddies and friends, Michael and Brian DeRuiter, because we got to solve the problem with this bracket. And so they're here to help me figure that out. Let me explain the problem. When we put the clutch in here, it has a mount that goes onto the engine, right down to the tranny of the engine. When that meets up with the tranny, these holes are short by that much. So this is where the studs are for the motor mounts, and this is where the holes are on here. And this one is just about there, where the stud is. So what we were thinking is cutting it here, in about the same place over here, and then welding plates on to strengthen it up, and just moving this whole section the right distance out.
You keep that
right
proper distance, and
I don't have to redo the holes or the right, because they are right. They fit on without. If you don't have this clutch, I put this on there and it fits fine. It's just as soon as you put the clutch on, you're short by 1.25 inches.
Can we see how much room for extra gusseting and stuff we have
is
around
there
it?
clearance issues?
There's no clearance on this side or in here at all. There's nothing. Now on this side we could take a look. I don't know if there's clearance on this side. We can take a look at that. Let me get a clamp here. All right, let me explain the plan. The plan now is we're going to cut this in 2 places here, and Michael's going to weld up a structure on here to make this really, really strong. And to do that, what's going to happen is he's going to take this right now, cut it so that it's a precise cut. I'm going to mount this with the clutch and this part onto the motor. He's going to come back, tack weld on something to hold it in position, take this off, take it again, build the whole thing, bring it back, and then we'll put it in for real. So that's the plan, and that's what we're up to. Summer has begun in Southern California, so we're in for the next 3 months of fairly warm temperatures, and that begins today. We're going to be up around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, that in Celsius. It's not too bad. It'll get worse, but even at 90, there's limited time that we can do epoxy work. So the pattern we're going to get into now is epoxy work early in the morning, which is now, and then prepping for epoxy work the next day, whether that be sanding or cutting or whatever it might be. So right now, Brian's starting to prep for mixing. I'm going to sand up the table area really quickly here. We're not trying to sand this to a fair amount. This is just to knock off any high spots before we fare. It won't take long. All right, let's get the salon started. At least the salon furniture. We talked about in last week's video, we're having a party up here and in the cockpit. And we want this all faired and primered before the party. Now, is there any real rules about having to have that done by then? No. But it's nice to set a goal so we can shoot for it. This also kind of kicks off our list that we made of 236 items to finish the boat. Because from here on out, each thing we do like this, I get to go check one of those darn things off the list. So while I'm doing this, Brian's mixing up the next one each time. And looks like one batch got that section, so it'll take another batch to do this section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so maybe 6 batches total to get the whole seat area done. Now, if I'm still feeling chipper at that, I'm going to move out and do the bulkhead 6, this bulkhead over here on the cockpit side. And I already prepped it. It's all sanded and cleaned. So if I'm still feeling chipper, I'm going to move on to that. But we'll see. This is just a coat. I'm in batch number 1. I got to get 6 here. And this one will be leaning over a bit. So we'll see how I feel. All right, well, he's mixing. I'm going to get our list out. That same list that I showed you guys. Everything left, as far as I know, to finish the boat. All right, I'll get back to you. I hear epoxy coming. That's my estimates based on the first one is it'll take 6 batches to do this seat. So just to keep it going, this is number 2. There are various techniques for fairing that I've watched other people do at different times. And you kind of just got to choose the one you want to do. One of the methods is to put a very, very thick coat on, sand it down, and that's it. You got one coat and you're done. The problem with that one is it's probably from a standpoint of application, it's faster, and you only have to sand once. But from the downside of that one is you have to sand off a lot of material, and that takes time. So the time you save in reapplying, you spend in sanding. So what would you rather do? Apply or sand? Another method is to put down a thick coat, but don't use a flat spatula. Use one with a corrugated edge, has little squares, and you take off half the material of the thick application, and then when you sand down, you only have to sand down half as much material. And if I was going to do the one coat method, that's the one I would pick, because it would cut the sanding back down again some. The third method, the one that we're doing, well, maybe there's four, but the one we're doing is put down one base coat, and all you're doing on this coat is trying to generally fill as best you can the problem areas, but you're not going to get it perfect because we're not putting on a thick enough coat to handle any spots that you kind of mess up on. So you have to live with that. So it guarantees you're putting on at least one more coat. But on the flip side, sanding this is much, much faster, and you create less dust, you waste less fairing compound because you're not sanding all that much away. And we prefer that method. Now, I guess I mentioned there's another method. Another method is endless coats. You just keep putting coats on and sanding, and then putting some kind of colored agent like Dycom Blue or something, sanding again, finding any microscopically low spots, fairing again, sanding again. And this can give you the best finish that you could have. But, oh my God, that's a lot of work. And we did that method on the hulls. I believe we put fairing compound on somewhere between 12 and 16 times, getting that hull surface perfect. Why get a hull surface? You're not even going to see it. Why work on that so perfectly? Well, for me, that has to do with speed. The smoother that hull is, faster the boat slips through the water, faster our boat is. It's a microscopic difference, I'll admit, but I really wanted the hulls to be nice, so I spent the extra time because it had more to do than just looks. It had to do with function as well. Now, out here, I'm not going to go do that. I'm only going to go 2 coats. And if I found a really terrible spot, because let me explain that. We'll go a coat, we'll sand. We'll go a coat, we'll sand. Then we're going to put down high build primer, which is almost like another fairing compound, just a very thin one. That's the one where if we find after that there's some very bad looking spot, we will go in and fix that with one more coat and sand, but it won't be an entire coat over everything. It'll just be fixing some little spot that is particularly ugly. We don't want it. Well, with only one more mix to go to finish this off, I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the bulkhead number 6 cockpit side. And see if we can't get that done here before it gets too warm. Okay, so we got some of this bulkhead 6 done and all of the seating area inside the salon there. So extra bonus for this part. So moving on. It's Big Crew Saturday and I got Brian and Jeff here. Jeff's downstairs. I'll show you what he's doing in a minute. I've got 4 jobs for him down there. That's because Brian and I are going to be many hours here ferrying our table and nav station here. So Brian will be mixing the entire time. I'll be applying the entire time. So it's only a 2-person job. So I have a bunch of jobs for Jeff. But for right now, I'm going to get started on fairing. Now a lot of this seat, like this back and this here, they don't need any fairing. It's all just sanding on that. But down below here, I have some areas that need fairing. I've got a tab right here. So while Brian and I are fairing the table upstairs, just down here coring these little pieces, rounding off the corner for me there. I'm going to do the same thing on all of these. So what these are is, so this is the, right here, this big piece, is the step that we lower down at the helm when we're sitting on the seat so that our feet aren't dangling. And these are the pieces that sit on here so that it can roll and land on something when it rolls. So he's coring these, going to fill these, going to glue these to the boards, and get all of that done. But we got a lot of jobs for Jeff because we also have these toe kicks over here. There's 4 of them, and this is for the bottom of the head cabinets, one in the shower, actually one in the head. And these are the toe kicks so that we can stand up belly up to the sink. And we're going to glue these toe kicks together and so that we can tab the inside of them before we install them into the boat, where it's going to be hard to get to that tabbing down on the floor behind them. So we're going to do it ahead of time right here. So Jeff's going to do that. At the same time, he's also prepping the end of this piece here and along this one here. And these are for the shelf edges up where we're working up there in the big table. And we're going to glue these on soon, so we needed them cored and filled in with thickened epoxy. So Jeff's going to do all those, and if he gets all of that done, as if that's not enough, Jeff, then we're going to have Jeff start cutting the carbon fiber for the chain plates. All right, well, back up there, I think Brian went by with my epoxy, so I got to go. I'm over in the corner here working on this storage area behind the seat. Not a lot I have to do back here, but a little. All right, so we've got this nav station area done here and on over here and around the corners down here and the corners here, along there, around the corner and up above. And that's as far as we're going to get today because temperature. It's a warm one, and we're hitting about 83 right this second. So we're only a degree in Fahrenheit above where we can do epoxy. So by the time we would prep anything and mix, it would already be above temperature. So we're going to move on to other things like getting that all that chain plate carbon fiber cut. Maybe we'll start working on the catwalk and adding the anchor mounts in for that. We'll take a look at that. Well, it's time to work on the chain plates. Very exciting. So
One more.
got it?
I can pull back. Yeah, that's it.
There's the other scissors if you want. Takes a lot of carbon fiber strips. So in this case, it takes 160 separate strips that are all about 12 feet or 4 meters approximately by 50 millimeters. So first thing we're doing is cutting the length, and then we'll start cutting 50 millimeter strips out of all of those as well. I'll let these two do that. I'm going to go upstairs and take care of something else.
So we reached a major milestone this week when we got the Forestay Pyramid carbon fibered onto the Forebeam.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Been working on that for a while, and also that kind of got our feet wet on doing the carbon fiber so that we can move on to our chain plates. And so we're working on that right now. So we'll be getting to that soon. But we also got other things done, like behind us here, the step is prepped for the helm. We haven't completely mounted it on there yet, but at least the feet are on. And we really got a lot of fairing and sanding done, as you saw. So great progress this week. Well on our way. We checked off a couple things on our list and moving along. But thank you all for stopping by and watching. We appreciate you coming by.
Yes, thank you for watching, and keep those comments and questions coming. We like them. And thank you to our patrons listed here. We really appreciate your help on this project. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
All right, well, we'll see you next week where we've got even more boat work we're going to accomplish. And we're getting those checklist items, going off. And so I'm really looking forward to getting this boat in the water. And we're on the downhill side now. So we'll see you next week.
Bye.